friends, thanks for joining me today. It's been a hot minute since I last filmed. I've been spending most of my free time this winter playing Final Fantasy XIV, and Walker was incredible, by the way. But I've still been actively reading this whole time. I met my goal of reading 40 books last year. Follow me on Goodreads if you're curious about what I'm currently reading or, want to see more reviews of mine. I'm active there and I review everything I read there, even the books that I don't actually film reviews for. So today I'm going to talk about Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So this is the first book in the Illuminae Files trilogy, and this fulfills my OwlCrate reading challenge prompt for the letter E for epistolary novel. This is a sci-fi story told through various forms of media like emails and reports about a group of people spread across a few different spaceships who have escaped an attack on their mining planet, and they're being pursued by a warship that is slowly gaining on them. And while trying to delay its inevitable approach, it's going to catch them, probably going to catch them. They are dealing with this virus that is spreading to everyone. The ship's AI appears to be going rogue, and because everyone is kind of separated, no one has the full picture of what's really going on. So our main characters are Katie and Ezra, who are ex-girlfriend and boyfriend respectively, and who are both on different ships. And Katie is a talented hacker. She's kind of the main character, and she puts her skills to use basically trying to put all the pieces of this mystery together, but she needs to work with Ezra in order to accomplish that. So I gave this a full 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the mixed media format, which thanks to this challenge I now know is referred to as epistolary. But really, I've read a couple other books that had epistolary elements to it, but this really felt like it was just on a whole other level. So I'm just gonna, I don't want to spoil anything, so I don't know, don't look too hard, but I'm just gonna flip through really quick and just show you some of these pages. Isn't that cool? It isn't just memos and transcripts and emails. There are blueprints, there's artwork, there are pages just formatted not in your typical way. It's just so interesting to look at. There are designs and shapes, and it's just incredible, and reading this was a real experience. Illuminae is the name of this group that is basically investigating and collating all of these documents together for a client, essentially. And throughout the book, you see these notes and comments from Illuminae about the things that they're presenting. And at first, I was a little bit worried that this would be kind of complicating to follow and confusing to parse through, because it's not just in regular novel form, but it's really not. Yes, you're reading documents and official things, so it doesn't flow the same way that a traditional story is written, but it's still a novel, and the authors aren't overly clever or roundabout in a way that makes it hard to understand what you're looking at. They're not trying to confuse you, so don't be intimidated by the format. The story is cohesive and easy to understand as things unfold, in my opinion. I've heard people say otherwise though, so I guess you'll just kind of have to check it out and know for yourself, figure out for yourself how difficult it will be to parse. So the main characters took me a little while to warm up to. I wasn't the biggest fan of Katie for quite a while after she was introduced. It's just a preference thing on my part. I just generally don't like smarty pants, cocky characters, and Katie kind of comes off that way to me. I warmed up to her though, as the story went along. I don't know, maybe she just became less obnoxious about her skills. I can't remember exactly. And I also had to warm up to her relationship to Ezra. I didn't really care about their relationship at the start, to be honest. Didn't really, wasn't really invested in their struggles as a couple, at least for a lot of the book. There's just a lot of, dodging each other's questions and general teenage moodiness, basically, which, some people love that. So, you might be into that. I grew to like them, though, through the story, and I was definitely rooting for them by the end as things got more intense and dangerous. I really enjoyed the parts with the AI, who is called Aiden, which stands for something that I don't remember. It's a sci-fi trope, basically the spaceship's AI, getting a mind of its own and acting in ways that are contrary to what humans, expect or programmed it to do. And I think that the trope was done very well, and Aiden is a compelling character in his own right. Or maybe I should say its own right. There were a few different twists that I didn't actively predict, but that I still enjoyed and thought were done well. And I'll have a short little spoilery section at the end so I can kind of talk about them, and I'll put a little warning up. And overall, I really enjoyed my time reading this. It was really fun. 5 out of 5 stars. It was dynamic and it was interesting to look at. Very cinematic, and at times it was poetic as well. And that's a lot of adjectives, but it was really all of those things. And for those of you who have read the book and want to hear, my thoughts on it, I have, again, a few spoilery things to chat about. So, you've been warned. If you don't want to be spoiled, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you return in the future. So, one of the most memorable scenes in this book for me was when the acting captain of the Hypatia has this really cute exchange with this the second lieutenant, and they're being flirty and cute, and it was really sweet. And then literally during the middle of the conversation, she realizes that he is probably contaminated and has to flush him, and a bunch of others out of the airlock. And just a couple pages later, you see a bunch of names in different orientations on a black page, symbolizing their bodies floating through space. And it was just wow, ouch. I don't know, it hit me pretty hard, and I just felt really sad, and it blew me away how much the authors managed to, evoke that response just by the way that they presented that moment on the page. And as for the twist at the end, so I totally called Ezra's mom being the CEO. I knew she was going to be someone high up and important, who was involved with Baytech and the Stellar Core War. I didn't expect Ezra to be alive at the end. I feel like it almost cheapens all of the trauma in the morning that Katie goes through in the book, and I think the ending would have been very powerful if he had actually been dead. But as the reader, I'm pretty sure that we aren't actually shown proof, that he was killed or dead. We were just being told by Aiden, who obviously had an agenda of its own. And I guess one last little thing about Aiden and Katie. So I was worried for a while that it was going to start getting weird between them because, Aiden develops some sort of emotional connection with her and Katie warms up, just a little bit towards it. And I think that it would have been cringy and weird if the AI really fell in love with her. So I'm glad that they didn't lean too hard into that relationship. I liked their relationship overall. So that's basically it. I recently found books 2 and 3 in a used bookstore in Seattle, so when I feel inspired to continue the series, I will be ready to just hit the ground running. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!